And now, an 8th special presentation.
This week on Artbeat Nation, meet world-famous tenor Marcus Haddock.
There's always that incomparable spirit, human spirit.
Discover how a traditional instrument makes a big splash.
To me, the ukulele is not just a universal language, but it's the language of the universe.
Learn about an ancient Russian craft.
If a Fabergé Imperial Easter egg came on the market today, it would go anywhere from $25 to $30 million.
See how art can represent a community.
You get to bring these ideas and concepts and all this life and color out into the world where everyone can see it.
It's all ahead on this edition of Artbeat Nation. Funding for Artbeat Nation is made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you. In 2009, internationally renowned tenor Marcus Haddock was at the top of his career, singing in the world's most famous opera houses from Los Angeles to Antwerp, Belgium. His was a career tenors could only dream of. John English talks to Haddock as he journeys through the many acts of this tenor's tale.
Marcus Haddock, one of opera's leading tenors, was in demand all over the world. Raised in Lubbock, Texas, classical music was not exactly a mainstay of daily life.
I went to Baylor University as a pre-med student, and I also wanted to take voice lessons, so I studied voice with a private teacher, and he recommended that I work with a lady named Sharon Vickery. She gave me a recording of La Boheme during the Christmas break of my freshman year. And I took it home and listened to it. And I decided at that moment that's what I wanted to do.
I asked the tenor when he knew opera was going to be his career.
I guess for certain was when I was one of the winners at the Metropolitan Opera National Council auditions. Then I thought, you know, I think this is going to be a career for me.
And what a career it was. The Kennedy Center in Washington, LA Opera, San Francisco, Dallas, and of course the Metropolitan Opera. But that was just the beginning. Marcus was a staple in the opera houses of Europe, Glyndebourne, Paris, Rome, Vienna, Antwerp, just to name a few. It was April of 2009. On a rare break at home in Skaneateles, New York, the tenor was getting ready to reprise his role of Werther in Munich when the unthinkable happened.
So I was just standing there in the kitchen, and then I collapsed to the floor. Tried to push myself up, and then I realized my left arm wasn't working. And I thought, okay, I'm going to need someone to at least help get me off the floor. But because I figured this was going to pass. It was nothing. And he walked in, the EMS guy walked in and said, nah, he's stroking out. So they got me to the hospital really quickly, and then that's when one stroke, I was fine, and then another stroke occurred, and then that was when it was really bad.
But as was his approach to everything in life, Marcus committed to the hard road of recovery. And what about that glorious voice?
I had gone down into a chapel at one of the rehab facilities where I stayed to try to sing, and it just wasn't happening. That may never happen, but we'll keep working at it.
And working at it he is. Every day he works on his voice, his music. And now there is a new focus in Marcus Haddock's life, teaching.
It's different because you're not. It's not all about you anymore. It's about that student. So you learn to listen very acutely to the student, and your interest is in improving the student. It's a joy just to see some of them that were a little shy maybe and not real sure of themselves begin to come out of their shells because they're starting to get feedback about something that maybe they weren't good at sports, but then something all of a sudden they can sing a little bit and people go, wow, and it excites them, and I love seeing that happen.
Marcus also shares his expertise by instructing young artists at the LA Opera in California.
Well, the Young Artists with Young Artists Studio at the Los Angeles Opera. It renewed my hope in opera because as long as we are producing singers like us, I heard there, they will continue to produce opera just to give them a place to express themselves so that we can hear those voices.
You know, we pride ourselves in the institution of having long-term relationships with artists, and when you develop that kind of relationship, you develop a kind of a trust, and in that trust we want those artists to be able to share their knowledge with our young singers. And so this residency has a dual purpose. One, we get this wonderful artist who can share their knowledge with our young people, and secondly, we're able to bring back a member of the LA Opera family who we weren't sure was going to be able to come back. And so it's really wonderful on both levels.
After all that he has been through, I asked the tenor what he thinks of his life now.
I feel blessed. There's always that incomparable spirit, human spirit. And I'm glad to be a part of that.
To learn more, visit marcushaddock.com. Ukulele master Jake Shimabukuro, who has been declared a musical hero by Rolling Stone magazine, has wowed audiences, earned comparisons to Jimi Hendrix and Miles Davis, and even played in front of the Queen of England. Meet the young man whose mission is to put the ukulele on the world stage.
When Don Young from CAM first approached me to do this documentary, he flew out to Hawaii and he's like, hey, we're interested in doing a piece on you, and we just wanted to know how you'd feel about it. I was like, wait, on me? You sure you got the right guy? Because, I mean, I couldn't believe that someone, wanted to actually do a story on me, because, I don't know, I mean, I just always felt like, I was ukulele player from Hawaii, and I don't know, and I was so honored and thrilled, of course. And then, I think when we started filming, when I first met the director, Tadashi, Tad, I call him Tad, and he, he would just, like literally, every time we were together, there was a camera rolling somewhere. One of the things that was in the beginning that was hard is like, for example, whenever I would leave the room, and the cameras would be following me, I would always hold the door open behind me for the cameraman, and then they'd always be like, just let it close. I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry, that's right. And like, and Jim, who was the DP, he kept telling me, just pretend we're not here. We're just glass, just pretend, we're not in the room. Just do your thing. You don't have to, because every time I'd walk into a room and I knew they were in there, I would just kind of look at them and say hi, and they'd be like, "No, we're not here. We're not here." So it took me, I think, you know, about a good year before I could finally just you know, get over that. I think it captures a large part of Hawaiian culture. You know, being an Asian American, you know, the kinds of things that you deal with and you face. Being a touring musician, being an artist, being you know, trying to be a good son, you know, trying to be a good person. This humble instrument has not just opened doors for me, but has kind of I guess looked after me. That's what I love about it, because to me the ukulele is not just a universal language, but it's the language of the universe. And I think that we all should feel like we can learn that language. I was born and raised in Hawaii, so I love the culture there. I love the music, the beaches, the surfing, I mean, all of that, you know, and the ukulele is a huge part of our culture. You know, I started, let's see. When I first started playing the ukulele, I played a lot of traditional Hawaiian music. You know, I learned 3 chords, just basic, you know. And with those 3 chords, you can play, I mean, hundreds of Hawaiian tunes. You know, so that's how I got into it. It was just very simple, and I just loved it because I felt like, oh, I'm a musician because I can play an instrument. Then later, I wanted to, you know, I started listening to different styles of music, and I learned that I could, you know, play different styles. Like, you know, you can do something blues. You can do like rock and roll. You know, like. Because traditionally people would strum and they would sing. But the problem is, if you can't sing and if you just strum the chords, no one will know what song you're playing. You can sing. Yeah, no, really, I can't. Yeah, I wish I could. But it's, yeah, so, you know, so I'll like on my, I just recorded one of my favorite Hawaiian pieces, and it's called Akaka Falls, and it's about a place on the Big Island. And it just has one of the most gorgeous melodies. I mean, it's just one of my go-to pieces, you know, especially if I'm feeling homesick. And yeah, and I usually gravitate toward that song. Oh, it's let's see if I can play it. I started out playing in coffee shops, just around my house, and I just love playing. I love sharing this instrument with people, and it doesn't matter if I'm, you know, in a room with just 20 or 30 people, or in a room with, you know, 2,000 or 3,000 people. You know, I experience that same kind of joy. Well, the YouTube thing that we were talking about earlier, the While My Guitar Gently Weeps, you know, that's what really opened up all these doors for me, and it was just this little arrangement that I played with something like this.
To learn more, visit jakeshimabukuro.com. A Fabergé egg is an internationally recognized precious jewel. The craftsmanship is unique, and no other jeweler has ever been able to replicate it. We learn more about the story of the Fabergé egg and its place in Russian history at the exhibit Fabergé, A Brilliant Vision, at the Houston Museum of Natural Science.
Fabergé's enameling techniques were coveted by all jewelers in the world. Even Cartier, Louis Cartier in Paris, said, what you do in St. Petersburg in enamel, we can't even come close to here in Paris. Enamel is basically powdered glass mixed with metal oxides to change the color and then fired at 1300 degrees Fahrenheit to create this beautiful glassy surface, which you see on his objects. And he would often engrave the ground underneath with a beautiful pattern and then put translucent enamel over that, so you'd see through the enamel to this incredible pattern underneath. It's called guilloché work, and he was a master of that. The royal family, the Romanovs, got involved with Carl Fabergé under Alexander III. He decided one Easter that he wanted to have an Easter egg given to his wife, and you can't just carve a wooden Easter egg if you're the Tsar, like most people in Russia did at Easter time. He wanted something special.
He said that he wanted to have something that would please and that would not be repeated and not made for other people. So Fabergé came with the idea of a simple egg. It was enamel, white enamel. It looked like a real hen egg, and when you opened it, there were surprises inside. And the Empress was absolutely pleased with it, and so he got a carte blanche for the next year to make another egg. And that's how it sort of started.
The imperial diamond trellis egg was given by Alexander III to his wife, Maria Fedorovna, and it is made of bowenite, and it has diamond and platinum trellis all over it. Originally, we know from archival photographs that it had a stand with 3 cupids on it holding it up, and on the inside the surprise, because every egg had a surprise, was a little elephant with a man on top, and you'd wind it up and the elephant walked across the table. And the Tsarina was so thrilled with it that he ordered one every year from Fabergé.
It continued until the revolution. So the Alexander III died, was replaced by Nicholas II, and so then Fabergé made 2 eggs every year, one for the mother and one for the new empress.
He had several clients that were very, very wealthy, like Nobel and Kelch, who had lots of money and wanted imperial quality Easter eggs to give to their wives because they could afford it. So with the Nobel egg, we have this platinum egg that has several layers of enamel on it that is engraved and etched with snowflake patterns. It's exquisite. And when you open it up, you have this watch actually in the form of a piece of ice with ice crystals on it in platinum and diamond. Alexander Kelch was a mining magnate in Russia. The Kelch egg that we have here is called the Rocaille egg. And the Rocaille egg has this wonderful Louis XV style Rococo decoration on it with 2 palm trees, the symbol of Palm Sunday, and it's in a deep green guilloché enamel, so you can see the pattern underneath the green enamel, and then over that you have this Rococo cage work with platinum and diamonds. It's an exquisite piece. At the turn of the century, you have the invention of photography. So we find that he's catering to this new passion for photography by creating picture frames, wood frames, enameled frames, gilded frames, from very simple to very elaborate for this new Victorian passion for photography. We have bell pushes. Because of the invention of electricity, we no longer have a bell pull for a servant, but you push a button and it rings a buzzer in the basement for the servant. Cigarette smoking came about after the Crimea War in the late 1800s. It became very popular with both men and women. So this was a whole new market for Fabergé to cater to them with these beautiful cigarette cases. The story of Nicholas and Alexandra and their 5 children is very romantic. It was a wonderful story, but unfortunately had a tragic end. They were all murdered by the Bolsheviks in 1918. And Carl Fabergé was given 15 minutes to get out of his place, just to get his hat and his coat, and to leave his premises during the revolution. And the British embassy had to get him out disguised as a British courier, and he ended up living in Switzerland and dying in 1920. If a Fabergé Imperial Easter egg came on the market today, it would go anywhere from $25 to $30 million most likely.
To learn more about the exhibit and the Fabergé egg, visit hmns.org. Murals can often be representations of their surrounding area. Up next, Rob Stewart speaks to 2 women who paint their way across the walls of communities in Sacramento, California.
We want you to meet the Mural Makers, 2 Sacramento artists on a mural mission. How fun to be here in front of this beautiful mural that you and your business partner created. Tell me about it.
Well, this is a mural that we did for Capital Area Development Authority, and what we really wanted to achieve with this is to show the downtown Sacramento grid really coming to life in a really graphic way.
What I love about your mission here is that you really want to have an impact on the community. Tell me about that.
Well, we really believe in the power of art and the ability for art to really kind of express really unique, beautiful qualities about an area. And so whenever we approach a mural, we try and capture all of those things about an area and express it to the people.
What does it mean to you to be a mural maker?
What I love about muraling is that it brings art out into the community as opposed to just kind of working in your studio, being kind of more isolated. You get to bring these ideas and concepts and all this life and color out into the world where everyone can see it.
It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what language you speak even, you can still get that message.
I feel that it's just a really great way for me to be able to kind of express myself and express my ideas, and it's a good tool that I can use to give something to the community.
I love anything that leaves a permanent stamp of good.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, well, I hope so. That's what we were trying to go for.
Well, good job, Sophia. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good to be with you here today on the corner of S and 7th in Sacramento.
To learn more, visit lcmuralanddesign.com. For more arts and culture, visit azpbs.org/artbeat, where you'll find featured videos and information on the Arizona art scene. Funding for Artbeat Nation was made possible by contributions to AIT from viewers like you. Thank you.